Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another MX Simulator official track gameplay on the channel. And today we are taking a look at Seattle 2018, which was created by the MXSEMF track crew again. And Seattle's going to be a mutter this weekend, my friends. And so to kind of replicate that, have a little bit of fun with that, I've turned erode for me on 15. That's just dash space erode and then the number 15 in your target line. And you aren't seeing it yet because it's going on behind me, but the track is going to get roached real fast in this video. There's going to be some deep ruts. The track is going to be completely torn up. I'm planning on going probably about 20 minutes. And by the end of this video, you'll see a completely different racetrack than the one I'm riding. So if you don't want to listen to me talk for 20 minutes, you can basically just skip to the end and probably see something gnarly. But if you want to listen to me talk for 20 minutes, I'll talk a little bit about this track first, and then I'll break down some real life thoughts and opinions. So this track, it's gonna be a mutter. So this is not how the track is gonna like end up look. I mean, it'll look like this, but that's the second they pull the tarp off this track, it will not look like this anymore. It is going to get nasty, deep. It's been raining all week in Seattle. It's still raining. It's going to rain even harder on Saturday, apparently. It's going to be an absolute quagmire out there. So the track is going to break down really gnarly. It's going to be very interesting to watch. But beforehand, I don't feel like this track was all that special. There was a couple rhythm lanes, but there wasn't anything really majorly different you could do in either rhythm lane. So I didn't feel like it was that cool of a track. Like this little switchback thing is whatever, I guess. Like it's all right, but I'm not like in love with it. So it's an all right track, but I think the rain is gonna make it amazingly epic. Like it's gonna change the whole scope this weekend. And I don't know what the MXSEMF track crew guys did with the erode this weekend. They basically they took a syringe and just injected a gallon of steroids into the normal erode settings that they have, because I've done some of the videos that I've done for the MX Simulator custom track gameplay, whatever you want to call it, this year with the erode as high as I have it now, which is 15. Normally I do like 10, maybe 5, depending on how much I want the track to deteriorate. But look at how deep these corners already are, and they're only going to get worse as the video goes on. Like honestly, this video is not going to be very entertaining from the sense that like I'm not going to be busting any huge lines, but 10 minutes from now it's going to be entertaining because I don't even know if I'll be able to ride the whole track without falling off a bunch. So no idea what those guys did with the road. I saw a lot of people complaining about it in the sim race last night. So again, I really can't tell you what happened there, what they did, because I don't really talk to them much about track building or anything like that anymore. But yeah, they definitely did some unique stuff to create the road the way it is in this iteration of the track. But like I said, wanting to replicate how deep and ruddy it's going to get, I turned the erode way up, and I'm just going to let the track get absolutely nasty, and by the end of the video it's going to be pretty rutted out. So you could try this out for yourself. You could try the track without the erode or anything, just in the status that I was playing it right from the get-go. By downloading the track in the description below. I always include the links to said tracks that I'm playing. Oh my goodness, it's already getting... I don't even understand why on 15 in the middle of the rhythm section there's these huge braking bumps. I don't know how well you guys can tell that by watching this video, but really big braking bumps develop like in the middle of a rhythm lane with the erode setting on like this, which is confusing to me because I've never seen that before, but whatever. Start using some insides. Go outside here, use the very tippy top of the berm. Trying to find any smooth line on the track I can get to. Start doing some lap times here. So yeah, Seattle this weekend, and I guess the biggest news that I'm just going to start off with talking about going into this weekend is, yeah, my jaw is still kind of draped along the floor. That Josh Hill is apparently going to fill in for the injured Justin Barcia at Seattle this weekend. Like, no offense to Josh Hill, but like, really? Like, Josh Hill retired at the end of 2015. He hasn't raced since. The last race that he actually competed in was Atlanta in 2015. And he only raced 6 main events in 2015, so he hasn't even attempted racing in over 3 years. I know he just had like signed on to do a deal in Canada, but as far as I could remember, everything I read about that was that it wasn't even going that well for him. Like, he was having a tough time adapting to the bike, which I think was a Honda, and he wasn't gelling with the tracks up there and stuff like that. So, like, he's been retired. He's been a representative of Monster Energy, which I would have to believe played some part in him getting this ride. But, like, cool. Yeah, Josh Hill comes back, races Seattle. Like, it's really good for a marketing standpoint, because Josh Hill being from, I think him and Justin are from Ocala, Washington now, although I think they both lived in Oregon at one point. I remember driving up there one time and I saw Justin Hill's track on the side of the freeway, so not too sure where they live now. But, you know, that's cool for the fans up in the Northwest to be able to see the other Hill brother back in action. I don't believe Justin is ready to go for the West Series yet, but have yet to been able to confirm that. But what I don't really get about this is, okay, so I made a tweet a week ago. No, maybe 2 weeks ago now that I think of it. And I said, could you imagine if Ryan Villopoto filled in for Justin Barcia or Cooper Webb, because at one point Webb wasn't going to race. So it must have been 2 weeks ago, because he did make it back for Indy. But, you know, Webb had injured himself in a practice crash during the week. Didn't look like he was going to make it back for Indy again. Did, but I was like, man, could you imagine with Villopoto being a Yamaha ambassador now? Obviously, he's been a monster athlete for freaking ever. I think he still is. And sure, he hasn't raced Supercross since 2014, but is it really that different than Josh Hill not racing Supercross since 2015? Like, honestly speaking, Hill has only been in 6 extra main events that Villopoto did not try to compete in. You know, he raced 6 races in 2015 that Villopoto had already moved on to GPs by that point, but Villopoto was still racing, so their careers almost ended around the same time, because Hill got hurt and then retired in 2015. Villopoto did pretty much the same thing. So it's like, just, I don't know, like, it's kind of weird, because I was really joking about Villopoto. I was like, no way, like, even if Yamaha forked over huge cash, I don't think Villopoto would do it. And that's kind of what leads me to believe they went with Hill, because he was already a monster athlete. They probably aren't paying him a whole hell of a lot to try to qualify this weekend, and it's obviously going to be, you know, a big deal to the media that he's out there trying to qualify again. So I get it from the marketing standpoint, but you would think that if they had put Villopoto on the track, which, you know, he's from Poulsbo, Washington, so he is another, you know, Northwest native, and the fans would have gone bananas to see him again, because the last Supercross he raced, he won the Las Vegas Supercross in 2014. You know, the Seattle fans never got to say, like, a true, I feel like, goodbye to Villopoto, where he won his first ever race. Like, that would have been such a cool story. Villopoto fills in for Factory Yamaha, and I don't feel like it's a stretch to assume that that was a possibility. Look at all the times that Jeremy McGrath, just as a test rider for Honda after he retired, came back and then, like I pulled up a result from 2006, San Diego Supercross 2006, almost 4 years after McGrath had retired, which is the same exact boat that Villopoto's in. McGrath finished 4th in the main event behind Chad, James, and Ricky. Like, I don't think that Villopoto would have had a tough time putting it in the main event with the field as depleted as it is right now. And it would have been a huge storyline if he did it. Like, I was so surprised to see Hill fill in when they have Villopoto as the, you know, brand rep ambassador. I guess they probably would have had to pay him too much. Like, the only way I can think that conversation would have gone down is they said, hey, Ryan, we want to do this. What do you think? And Ryan probably would have been like, no, I'm done. I don't want to race anymore. But he has been doing, like, snowcross, and he just raced a vet race or something like that at Glen Helen a couple weeks ago. So he's been around, like, he's been riding. I wouldn't say he's been training, but I don't know if I would say Josh Hill's been training a lot either. Obviously, he probably went to the gym a few times this week to get race ready, but I don't know. Like, the Josh Hill one, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. There's guys out there that are the Ben Lemays, the, who else? Dakota Tedder, AJ Catanzaro. These guys that are like full-blown privateering it, but making it in 450 mains week in and week out. And I'm just shocked that they wouldn't try to go for someone like that, just to be like we're giving this guy a fill-in, he's going to put it in the main. Again, I guess the difference is that the media attention towards Ben Lemay getting the ride would not be nearly as significant as Josh Hill getting the ride, because Hill, a proven race winner, has been a staple of that 450 class for many years before his retirement. Like, it kind of looks cool to see him make his return. It would be the same thing as if you plucked Trey Kennard out of retirement to fill in, or I guess Kennard is a bad example. It'd be the same thing as if you plucked Andrew Short out of retirement to do a fill-in ride. But I don't know, like, I just that took me aback. Like, when I saw it, it was on April 3rd, I believe, that they posted about it, and I'm like, that's a joke, right? Like, April Fool's Day was 2 days ago, but that's a joke. Like, I'm not saying Hill doesn't deserve a ride or whatever, but he retired 3 years ago. Like, this is crazy. It almost looks a little bit like Yamaha saw Blake Wharton do as good as he did, filling in, filling in on IB Corp for Justin Heft. Wharton never lost the speed, and I'm not saying Hill will have lost the speed either, but it almost looks like Yamaha saw that and was like, yep, let's pluck another retired guy out of retirement because he's going to do just as good. And who knows, maybe Hill will do just as good. Like I said, his talents are there. He's very good. I think he'll put it in the main this weekend. I really do. Where he goes from there, I don't know, because it's going to be a complete mutter. I'm not saying that this is possible, but it's a mutter. He could win the damn thing. You never know with these races because they're always just complete crapshoots. It never seems like the guy you expect to win a mud race ends up winning a mud race. Like, going into this weekend, you're like, oh yeah, Tomac, outdoor specialist, he's tall, pretty good in sloppy conditions, gotta be Tomac, right? And then next minute you have like Blake Baggett win or something like that, just like kind of, not that Baggett is weird to consider as winning a race, but it just never seems to be the guy you think it is. Like, I always go back to the opener at 2005. It's supposed to be this epic, combining of the storms. Reed had just won the title the year before. Ricky's on Suzuki for the first time. James is making his 250/450 class debut. And it was supposed to be the perfect storm. And instead, Kevin Windham wins an absolute mud race from hell. Like, and again, 2008, Reed leading the whole race. Bike blows up on the last lap. Windham wins again. And it's not like to suggest that Windham is a crazy afterthought to think winning a mud race, but these races always provide just really interesting things. Sebastian Tortelli winning the season opener in 1998, another mud race. They always produce random results. But back on topic for Hill for just a second. I guess I'm just saying, like, I was shocked to see it. That's good on them to give Hill another shot. I'm sure Hill's going to try to take it as a good opportunity. I would care to venture that this is not going to be one of those, like, Christian Craig filling in, comes back and makes a career out of it again type of things. Like, I really think that Hill is just kind of doing Monster and Yamaha a solid here and saying, like, hey, PR, I'll make it in the race, blah, blah, blah. But, like Craig, he retired for a couple years, came back, rode for Geico, and then got a full-time ride. Could happen to Hill, but he is a little bit older than Christian, and I think that he was relatively happy in retirement. Christian was working construction. Josh Hill was a marketing rep or sales rep or whatever you want to call it for Monster Energy, and he was going to parties and stuff like this. So I felt like Hill had a pretty good time going in his retirement. You know what I mean? So anyway, cool to see Justin Hill back. It just took me as a shock. I feel like a lot of people are probably heading to the comments right now and saying, why are you trashing on Josh Hill? This is a great move for Yamaha, blah, blah, blah. fine, whatever. If that's what you want to feel, that's totally fine. I am not trying to say Josh Hill is a terrible rider or anything like that. Like, I just felt that after 3 years of retirement, they might fill it with a privateer. Like, why? Another question I kind of have about this whole scenario is, why are they filling Barcia's spot? Like, Barcia's been hurt 5 rounds now, almost 6, going on 6 rounds being out with an injury, and he's coming back by Salt Lake City. So I don't think that's next weekend, but either way, like, he's coming back eventually. Why wouldn't they fill the spot sooner if they wanted to fill it in? Like, it just the whole thing seems a little suspect to me. Like, it, as if like Yamaha came over and said, need to fill the spot, and they said, all right, let's find the cheapest guy that can fill it. And then they were like, hey, Josh, you're a monster guy. Want to ride a Yamaha? Anyway, I digress. Just took me as a shock. Not picking on the guy at all. Actually, I really hope he does well, because I think that it was kind of a little bit of a bummer how his career ended with, you know, he got the ride on Cycle Trader Rock River, and it seemed like, oh, he's gonna figure some stuff out. He came out of being a privateer to get this ride. Maybe he can challenge again, and unfortunately got hurt. Bad end to his career, but good to see him back nonetheless. But as it is a West round, and the 250 West Series back on, and the fact that it's about to be a mudder, again, anybody that I feel like, I'm going to pick 2 guys to win these races, because you got to pick 250 and 450, and I feel like neither of them are going to win. I'm going to say who I think will win or should win, and I bet neither of them will win. So in the 250 class, I have to go Plessinger. It's a mud race. He's a GNCC guy. He loves rutted, gnarly conditions. He could start dead last, and because of the craziness of a mud race, still win, potentially. I'm not saying it will happen, but he could potentially do it. So I got Plessinger 250s. Can someone else win? Heck yeah, they can. I don't think that Plessinger's like got it completely locked up. I just think that he is the best mud rider of everybody on the track. He's tall, he's lanky, he's got great balance. He's got the GNCC experience, like I said, so he knows how to ride conditions like these. I think it's going to suit him well. But, you know, if he gets a bad start, then he loses his goggles early. You never know with these mud races. And then someone like Cianciarulo, another tall, very technically skilled guy, could sneak up there and grab a win. He needs a win. He hasn't won a race yet this year. He's been trying. He's gotten so close, but he hasn't yet, and he's clawing his way back into the championship. Or like McElrath could have another great ride. Savatgy still looks like he's kind of getting over being hurt, so I don't really have him picked to win. But again, the second you think, oh, that guy probably won't win, he goes out and wins. So who am I to say that Savatgy can't win this weekend? Sure he can. Why not? And in the 450 class, like I said, I don't know how you bet against Eli Tomac in these conditions. Sometimes when it gets gnarly like this, I feel like Eli either is an animal or turns into a shell of himself, which he can do quite often, to be honest. But I feel like these type of conditions where it's an absolute disaster is going to bring out the animal version of Eli this weekend. Like, he's going to be like, I'm just going to send it and see what happens. And he may crash because of that, but I just feel like technically right now he's a better rider than most of the guys he's on the track with. That said, you know, French people love it when it gets technical, rutted, and rains because they grew up in an atmosphere like that, especially people from England. But France is not that much different. The only difference I would say for France is that a lot of their tracks are hard-packed, slick blue groove stuff. So when it rains, then they have to learn how to basically ride on ice. Whereas in this case, the Seattle dirt is very loamy and deep and kind of gnarly. And then, you know, you add rain into that equation and it just basically makes a black hole in the ground. So I wouldn't put it past seeing Marvin win. We've seen Baggett, a great outdoor rider, do well in rainy conditions before. Hell, you know, Pike is a manhandle it type of guy. If it's raining pretty hard and it's a track that demands a lot of physical fitness and moving of the bike, again, Pike could be someone that shines through. I don't know if he could win, but definitely a potential player in the mix there. Cooper Webb is good in the rain. Like, there's just a lot of different people that could be good this weekend. Now, in terms of Jason Anderson, the reason I haven't brought him up as a potential winner is because I think Anderson is going to do one thing and one thing only this weekend, and that is survive. I don't think he's going to go out there and be like, yep, I got these guys covered. I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to extend my points lead. Because if he goes out there and tries his balls off and then crashes and then the bike, you know, gets buried or something and then he gets stuck and then a DNF, you know, like, he's just going to want to be like, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to try to hit my marks, not get stuck in a hole, not get the bike stuck in the water, and save my tear-offs and just try to get a 5th out of this if I can. Because his points lead is so huge. Like, what's the point in him going and trying to win this weekend? Almost none. It's more likely that he could go and finish 5th, someone random win, and Muscan and Tomac DNF, and Anderson pulls an even huger points lead. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be survival for him. And I got Tomac, I got Plessinger. Pretty obvious picks, I feel like, but it's a mutter, so who the hell knows? But yeah, here is the track in all its glory. Completely beat up. I can't even get over these Supercross triples anymore. There's ruts and rough everywhere, and most of you, I feel like, have probably played MX Simulator before, so you know how ridiculously challenging this game is when there's none of this stuff on the track, and then as soon as you insert huge ruts everywhere, it makes it pretty darn impossible to play. So I feel decent enough that I'm actually getting around the track, but obviously the track is pretty torn up at this point. Ugh. So yeah, thanks for watching another video here on SYS. Hopefully you guys don't rag on me too much for my comments on Josh Hill. I promise you it's not personal to Hill. It's more of just like a, wow. There's other guys out there, you guys know, right, Yamaha? Anyway, I'm done talking about it. I'm done talking about this. I'm done trying to ride this track because it is starting to get really difficult. But thanks for watching. As always, like I said, you can download the track in the description below at any time. You are free to do so. And yeah, I'll see you guys in all of our future videos on the channel, because there are probably thousands of more coming. We're almost at 1,000 actually, continuing to grow. I can't believe the growth we've seen past year or so. So I appreciate the support as always, and I hope to see you guys in all of our future videos. But I'm Kellen, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.